Hello. Hi, hello. Um, Hi, hello. We are back. Um, Thanks to everyone who stuck around. Thanks to everyone joining us anew. Um, my name is. I realized I did not introduce myself at the top of my first block, um, which is horribly rude to just assume that everybody who's here knows who I am. And so let me make up for that by introducing myself at the top of my second block. My name is Brent. I go by Dorklord Canada on pretty much every social that is out there. If you want to find out more about what I do, you can head over to my fancy dancy website, dorklordcanada.ca. The link is in the chat. And that is pretty much where to find like all the stuff that I'm up to and all of the locations that I exist on the internet. It also has information about the fact. So I work primarily in the TTRPG space. I am a writer slash journalist and freelance tabletop and speculative fiction editor. That's sort of where I do the bulk of my work in the space. I'm also a longtime player and GM. Just in the last couple of years, I have dipped my toe into actual plays and playing on stream. Just this past year, like within the last past 6 months, I've also dipped my toe into like producing an actual play. Which has been very, very interesting, and it's definitely something I'm going to continue doing. But there's more of that stuff that's going to be coming out in the next little while. I'll talk about details maybe probably next Saturday when I do the streaming stuff. But that's primarily the stuff that I do out in the community. And I am as of this morning, I am a brand new squeaky new Twitch affiliate. Oh, hey, Aaron. Good to see you. And yeah, that's sort of the stuff that I'm up to in the community. But back on November 5th, I had meant to do take part in the 24-hour game day for Extra Life, to play solo games for 24 hours. And that day went absolutely fantastic for the first 6 hours, and then I got a migraine, which crashed the entire day. So, in order to make up that time, because I still want to play those games, I promised all of those people that I was going to be running these games, and I want to keep that promise. I also want to raise money for Extra Life, and yeah, just want to keep that stuff going. So this Saturday and next Saturday, I'm making up that time. This is the second sort of 2-hour block out of 4 that I'm going to be running today. We're going to talk a little bit about gaming and a little bit about Extra Life and stuff like that. And then we're going to play a solo TTRPG. And that's sort of what's happening in this block. Why it's happening is because I'm trying to raise money for Extra Life. You can see the bar at the top. I have a $1,000 overall goal. I am 82.8% of the way towards that goal. Which is right down to the generosity of everyone who has donated, and either during these streams or over at when I've advertised it on Twitter. And I could not be like more thankful for the folks who have come out and donated, not just with money, but also have retweeted my donation tweets and things like that. All of that stuff helps me get helps get my tweets in front of new people and gets new potential donors, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee, which may or may not have whiskey in it. Spoiler alert, it does. Yeah, that's primarily why I'm running these, and why I wanted to get to affiliate status here on Twitch, is that hitting affiliate status unlocks like a whole bunch of stuff that I couldn't do before. Basically, not only can I monetize things around the channel now, and I haven't had a chance to go in and look at any of that stuff. Like I said, I literally woke up this morning and saw the email that I was yep, spicy coffee. That is actually the nickname we gave to Bailey's. I used to work years and years ago. I used to work at a place called well, I won't give the name just in case they I don't know if they still exist or not. Essentially, I used to work for an industrial scaffolding company in their shipping receiving department. And so we were safely in the office away from anything that could potentially hurt us. That is important to know, because if I was out in the yard working like around forklifts and stuff like that, there is zero chance that I would, you know, put Bailey's in my coffee. But because we were in the office and we were not going to be going out into the yard, but you know, you couldn't just advertise the fact that you had Bailey's for your coffee. And it's important to note too that this is not just me sneaking Bailey's into work and somebody and like putting it in my coffee. This is my supervisor, you know, coming to me and it's like, hey, would you like some coffee spice? That's what we would call it. And so yes, anyway, yeah, I'm raising all these funds for Extra Life, and unlocking affiliate has allowed me to monetize things around the channel. So you know, people can now have. It was pretty cool up until the point they fired me. But sorry, didn't fire me, laid me off. That is an important distinction here in Canada. One allows you to collect employment insurance. One does not. Yeah, unlocking affiliate allows me to monetize things around the channel. So like I said, I haven't had a chance to actually sort of like go and look at what that looks like from the viewer side. So I don't know what you're seeing. And currently, like, I'm on my laptop. I'm not going to go and open up Twitch in order to get a look at that. I'll save that for tomorrow. I can go through all those, or maybe tonight, if I want to just like hang out and chill and do something. But you know, people can subscribe to the channel now. People can gift subs to people. Like, even just with the affiliation, like I'm seeing at the top of my chat now, like, gift a sub now to be #1, and that was never there before. There are channel points now, which I have not set up, so for now, just keep accruing channel points. I don't even know if like all channels come with like a basic set of points that, or of like things you can redeem points for. But I will go and sort out what I can do with those channel points. Figure out if there's things like specific to tabletop role-playing games that I can do with them. But like, people can buy bits and they can tip and stuff like that. So all of that stuff through to the end of the year is all of the proceeds from that are going to go to Extra Life. And probably going forward as well, although there may be some things I do, because I do want to do, besides doing like solo TTRPGs, which I love doing on stream, and I already have plans to like get another camera and do my setup a little bit better so that I can do because right now you're basically just forced to watch me play the game and describe what's going on. But I would love to do it, like get a second camera and have that facing down on the table, so that you can actually see the stuff that I'm doing with this stuff. So when I'm drawing stuff in the journal, or when I have cards laid out, as we're going to be doing with this game, that have you know, like more of a visual component to it. I want you to be able to see that, because that's you know, going to be a lot more interesting than just like seeing me and listening to me talk. Give you something visually interesting to look at, that is related to the game we're playing. But I also want to do, like, I want to run charity games. I want to invite players on to run stuff, or I want to, you know, invite people on to GM, and bring players along to run stuff. And so, you know, initially I may have to ask people to do that for free. I would like to, it would be awesome if the channel got to the point where I was getting enough through like subs and bits and tips and things like that, where I could give, you know, whenever I ran one of those charity streams, I could at least give like everyone involved a little something, even if it's not much, but like give them like, I don't know, $15 so they can go out and get lunch, or, you know, like just something, right? To say thank you for coming on and supporting the charity that I'm working with. So yeah, those are plans for the future, but those are things I'll figure out. I'll probably figure out when I'm on like holidays this December. I'll sit down and actually puzzle out a plan for the channel going forward, because yeah, it's like I said, I am hours old as a Twitch affiliate, so I'm certainly not in a rush to make hard and fast decisions about any of this stuff. But as for today, we are here raising money for Extra Life, and I will type !Extra Life into chat. That is a link to my donation page. On that page, you will see like any number of incentives and stuff like that for ways that you for various donation levels. So you can like donate directly through that page. I have incentives starting at $10, but I believe like the absolute minimum donation is $5. So like if $5 is what you got, thank you so very much. Like every bit helps. It honestly does. You hear, I try not to, because, you know, it's maybe a bit of a false equivalency, but you hear like streamers say like, I've got like 19,000 plus people who are following me on Twitter right now, and I like, if the first time I posted like hey, I'm raising money for Extra Life, all of those people came out and donated $5, like like if every follower I had just donated $5 to my Extra Life, yeah, that would be like just an absolutely outstanding, stellar year for fundraising, and that would absolutely blow me away. But so it doesn't have to be a lot. Give what you can. Besides the donations on that page, you will also see a link on that page to something I created over on Itch called the Oath of the Hive. The Oath of the Hive answers the burning question that I know all of us have had at one point or another, which is, what if I wanted to play a sentient swarm of bees who is also a paladin? And I think I've answered that question pretty well with Oath of the Hive. It's wonderful little creation that is, I mean, as ridiculous as it sounds, I actually did make, I think, something which would work in and benefit a D&D game. So it's not just like a throwaway joke paladin character. You know, you can play, like, it is, I think, a very effective paladin for your D&D table, for your D&D campaign, who just also happens to be a sentient swarm of bees. So if that is something that that interests you, you can go to my donation page linked in the chat. If you type ! extra life, all one word, that'll give you the link if you don't see it. Yeah, that is the reason I am doing these things. I would love to see the donations go up even a little bit today. We started the day at 8:28. So far, there hasn't been any movement on that. So if you can spare a couple of bucks, either to buy Oath of the Hive, or ooh, okay, well that changed. Thank you so very much, Chaotic. Thank you. That is very generous. Thank you so very much. Now we are at 84.3% of my goal, which is outstanding. Honestly, I know, like, times are tough out there right now. So just, like, to have achieved any percentage of my goal is amazing. And I know that Extra Life is going to appreciate, like, every dollar that comes their way. Because, I mean, let's face it, it's been a rough couple of years, folks. It's been a rough, not even couple of years at this point. We're coming up on, like, a rough, like, 3 or 4 years. It wasn't all sunshine and roses prior to the pandemic. The pandemic was basically just, you know, poop buttercream on an already shit cake. So, somebody clip that. Anyway, or turn it into a meme or something like that. Poop buttercream on an already shit cake. Yep. That's the take. So the fact that, like, anybody has any money to spare to, like, donate to things like this is outstanding. Obviously, it would be absolutely fantastic if we lived in a world where folks didn't have to donate to charities like this in order to make sure things like children's hospitals happened. But that is the world we live in. And until we can change it, we sort of need to do what we can to keep it stumbling along. So yeah, but what we're here to do right now is to play a game called The Witch's Almanac. And let me just quickly, I think I still have, nope. I keep forgetting that I did a copy paste to change my going live, and so no, I don't have the link to the game just sitting on my clipboard right now. But I'm going to change that right this second. Nope, I don't want that one. Stop it. Do what I want, Google. Okay. So this is The Witch's Almanac by @Tallywinkle. If you go to, so I'm just going to read the first little bit here to sort of set it up and show you give you a sense of the game. You sit in a stiff yet comfortable wooden rocking chair next to a crackling fire. Beams of sunlight spill through your dusty old window as you reach over and pull a large, well-worn tome from your bookshelf. It is a faded, deep blue color with golden lettering emblazoned on the front that reads, "The Witch's Almanac." You consult a dog-eared page near the middle to confirm what you already know. The potion you've been studying requires 2 key components, and this potion can only be brewed under the light of the pink moon. You need to journey out to find these components, return home, break out your trusty cauldron, and get boiling. Venturing out into the woods around you is always exciting. The very trees are teeming with magical energy, causing time to pass in weird ways. Idly, you glance over at your lunar calendar and your stomach drops. Oh no, where did the time go? The next pink moon is tonight. You quickly gather your things and prepare to begin your journey. There's not a moment to waste. So that is the basis of the game. Materials. 1 standard deck of playing cards, jokers removed, which I have right here. A 6-sided die, or 1d6, which I have right here. A character marker, like a figurine or a coin. I have a penny, which in Canada, where I am, is a very rare thing, because we got rid of our pennies years ago. And by got rid of, I mean our country doesn't make them anymore. The lowest coin we have is a nickel. And so whenever, which like everybody's like, oh, how does that work? It must be so complicated. And they actually just instituted like a really simple thing so that when you go to the till and like buy something, it will, because of our various like provincial sales taxes and GST, which is like a national goods and services tax, we may still come up with like you know, something may end up still costing like, I don't know, $5.14, right? And whereas normally you would, if you handed them like a $5 bill and 2 dimes, you would get back a penny, or like you would get back, sorry, a dime and a nickel, you would get back a penny. Now, like most people are paying with debit. So then they basically just do, like you run your debit card or you run your credit card or whatever. And if it's, you know, it basically rounds up or down based on thing. And I mean, it all equals out in the wash. Also, most places now have sort of, like they've adjusted their prices so that it's, so that it usually works out like pretty even. But yeah, we just don't have a penny anymore. So if you pay in cash somewhere, you don't get pennies back. The cost gets rounded up or rounded down, and you just get like the nearest 5 cents. And a piece of paper and a pencil, which I do have with me if I need them. What I tend to do if the game has, when I'm streaming a solo TTRPG, if the game has a journaling component to it, I will just talk that through, because I think that's marginally more interesting than like watching the top of my head as I'm hunched over a journal, writing notes. So at least I hope it is. I'm sorry if you came here for the journal writing ASMR stream. If you do, like, you know, get at me on Twitter and tell me you're really looking forward to that, and maybe I'll start just doing things where I just like turn on the stream and say hello and then immediately start journaling. But so in order to set up for the game, we've got our deck of cards, we've got our die, our marker. We have to figure out what potion we are brewing. The game comes with 4 of them. And that may seem like a small amount, but when you consider that, like, you're going to, so you'll see in a second here, there's a lot of replayability in this game because besides the potion that you're doing, you're never going to get the same mix of cards as you're playing it. So just gotta make some space on my table here, on my desk here, for because I have to lay out the cards. So some journaling games that use cards as a descriptor or as a prompt for what you're doing will have you just pull cards from the deck as you're playing through. The Witch's Almanac actually has you like lay out the cards in a pattern, and as you decide which direction you're going to go, you turn over the card and discover what's there. So you do sort of literally, so it's a little bit more of a board gamey component to it, which I actually quite enjoy for a lot of games. That's also why my laptop is sort of over. I'm going to move it over even a little bit more. There we go. So that I have this space on the edge of my desk in order to do this. So we had to figure out which potion we're doing. And to do that, I'm just going to roll the die. I'm going to ignore 5 and 6. So ignore 5 and watch me like roll a bunch. No, I rolled. So this is a blooming potion. We have to boil up a blooming potion. So once you've determined the potion, next to the potion on the instruction sheet tells you the component cards for that. So the component cards for the blooming potion are the Ace of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts. So I have to go through the deck and find Ace of Hearts and Queen of Hearts. Ace of Hearts, there we go. Doop-doo. No, that's Queen of Diamonds. It's very close, but not the thing. Watch it be like... Nope, not quite the end of the deck, but there we go. So you remove those from the deck. And then you also remove the King of Hearts from the deck, which if I had remembered, that was the next step, since I encountered it first, actually. There it is. So then you shuffle the remaining cards. I've already been shuffling them a bunch, but since I've just looked through the deck, I will shuffle them again. I used to be able to riffle shuffle in a hand, like in one hand or between my hands, without needing to brace myself on a tabletop. And unfortunately, years and years of working outside in the extreme cold, well, and the extreme heat too, it's the extremes of it that actually do the damage, has taken away some of the dexterity in my fingers, so I'm no longer able to do that, which is sad to me because it was a fun little exercise. Anyway, so I've shuffled it. I will now deal out a deck of 21 cards. There we go. Put the rest off to the side. I want to add in my component cards to this deck face down, and it doesn't matter where because you're going to share it, but then I'm also going to put the King of Hearts in face up. So for right now, I'm just that's gonna look like this. Shuffle the deck again. Then I lay the cards face down in a grid. Except for the King of Hearts, which will remain face up. So no big deal. If you lay down your grid of cards and everything is face down, you may have a moment of having to figure out, but if you hopefully you just manage to shuffle things enough. And all right. It doesn't specify like how you should lay out the grid. It sort of leaves it up to you. You have 24 cards. How I'm going to do it is, I think I have enough space here to do like a 4x6 grid, so that's what I'm going to do. Or actually a 6x4, so 6 across and 4 deep. I think that will fit. Well, if I put them a little closer to one another, basically you'll just figure this out for like whatever space you're doing this in. Once you get the spacing on the first row done, of course, putting the next ones in is pretty straightforward. And this deck represents the forest outside of your witch's cottage that you were going to be searching through to try and find the ingredients. So essentially you've created a deck of 21 random cards out of a possible 50, because you've removed the jokers from this deck. That's also important. I don't know if I mentioned that. And oh, there we go. That worked out nicely. And then in there somewhere are the 2 cards that represent the 2 components that you need. So in our case, that's the Ace of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts. So what I'm trying to find is those 2 cards. And in the course of like moving from card to card and turning it over and figuring out what happens on each of those cards as I'm journeying along, that is sort of the meat and potatoes of what we're doing here. We're trying to, and we have to make this potion under the light of the pink moon. So once you've done there, so the King of Hearts will be face up. That is your starting location. So you place your character marker on the King of Hearts. This is home. This is the witch's cottage. And you are now ready to begin the journey. So I start the journey. You now start the journey. You have 8 hours, right? You've got to cast the spell. You've got to brew this potion under the light of the pink moon. You have 8 hours to do that. You will then choose an adjacent card, not diagonal, and move your player token there. You flip the card face up, you look at the card, and you resolve the card's effects. And you repeat step 2 until you win, which is either find 2 component cards for your potion and return home without running out of hours, or lose when your hours reach 0. You may travel to adjacent already explored cards if you wish. Perform the card's effects each time you visit. So the effects don't go away. Sometimes you may be forced to journey through a card you've already been on in order to get to one that you haven't in. Your goal is to journey to find the 2 component cards for your potion, return home to your cauldron, and successfully brew your potion before the pink moon sets. So rule 4 is important because even after you've got your 2 things, you still have to get back to your cottage to brew the potion, right? And there are effects that you have to get in. So hopefully you've figured out like what those effects are, because if some of those effects are you lose time, if there isn't a safe pathway back to your cottage, you could find the 2 components for the potion and still run out of time to do it. So that's the challenge of playing this game. And that's as simple as it is to like get set up and playing for this. The rest of this, like the rest of the game document, is just the description of all like what happens on each type of card in the deck, and then oh, it doesn't specify. So like the two component cards I have are the Ace of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts. They are obviously listed on the effects thing here. I don't know if when you go to that card, if you treat them as like a location card, or if you... I'm going to say, for the purposes of today, I'm going to say no. They are just ingredients. You get to that card, you find the ingredients, and you move on. Maybe that's not in the spirit of the game, but just for the purposes of today, I'm going to say that's the way it runs. And then at the end, there is like a debrief. So, you know, if you wish, reflect on the following prompts at the conclusion of your journey. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the end, but let's get to playing here. I'm just going to quickly, minimize my screen and say, Battle Rock, thank you so very much for subscribing. That is extremely generous. And for 3 months. Like, that is... Thank you so very much. You are... and congratulations. There's no real special... there's no real special... thing for it. Other than I think you get like a first... I think anybody who subscribes in like my first year of being affiliate gets a first badge. So you get like a first badge next to your name now in chat. But you are actually my very first subscriber. So thank you so very much. That is extremely generous. And to do that 3 months in advance, that is going to be very, very helpful. All of that money is going to go to... you know, obviously minus Twitch's cut, all of that money is going to go to Extra Life. So thank you so very much for supporting the channel and supporting Sick Kids. If you are just joining us, Battle Rock, and haven't heard much of what I've said about this game so far, this is the game that we are playing. The Witch's Almanac. And... thanks. I appreciate it. I will keep doing what I'm doing. And I will also get better. But we are essentially moving around a magical forest, which is represented by an array of cards that I have just laid out on the end of my table here. To try and find two components that I need to brew up a potion that has to be done in the next 8 hours, because the potion has to be brewed under the light of the pink moon. So that is what we are doing. I have my little marker, and so I am just going to go... I mean, my choices are left, right, and forward. At least for this first move, let me just roll. So 1 to 3 is left. 1 to 2 is left. 3 and 4 is forward. 5 and 6 is right. 5 right. So I go to the rightmost card, or I go to the card, not the rightmost, but the card to my right, and it is the King of Spades. And the King of Spades is, what does that look like? Ooh. The ghostly form of a spirit appears in front of you. It appears to be the shape of a bearded man wielding a harvesting scythe. The watch on your wrist begins to feel very warm. If you have 12 or more hours, set your hours to 4. Otherwise, lose 1 hour. Ugh, oh, that's not great. Okay, so I've wasted an hour here, basically. This ghostly form appears in front of me, and I basically waste an hour like dodging the scythe and stuff like that. So now I'm down to 7 hours. Actually, let me grab... as long as the game is inclined, and I think it is, to do these in like 1 hour chunks. Well, actually I can gain hours. I was going to say I'll grab an 8-sided die, but actually I think what I'm going to do is going to grab a 20-sided die just in case. I'm feeling optimistic. Maybe I'll get more hours, but I'm going to take that 20-sided die. I've now set it at 7. So I have 7 hours left. Okay, got to get moving. I think I'm just going to like keep going right and complete this row. So I flip over the card, King of Diamonds. King of Diamonds. Where are we here? King of Diamonds. You feel vibrations coming from your bag. You rummage around and discover it's your lunar crystal, which has started to hum. You forgot you had this thing. You look at it more closely and you feel it pulling you in a certain direction. Do you follow? Roll 1d6. If the result is less than 4, gain 1 hour. Otherwise, lose 1 hour. Okay, come on. Let's see if I can get this hour back. A 3. Yes, excellent. So now I have 8 hours again. All right. Thank you, Lunar Crystal. And the only place I can go that is unexplored is ahead, so I'm going to do that. 2 of Hearts. All right, the 2 of Hearts. You hear the sound of thunder rumbling in the distance. Your skin prickles the way it always does when a storm is near. Roll a d6. If the result is 5 or 6, the thrill of a possible storm drives you to move more quickly. Gain 1 hour. Ooh. Come on, d6. Nope, rolled a 1, so I did not gain an hour. It's not thrilling enough, I guess. The thunder just wasn't rumbly enough. So, but I haven't lost any time either. So, ahead or to my left? I'm gonna go ahead. That takes me further away from my start, but what the heck? 6 of Diamonds. Okay. You find a pond, still and clear under the rising full moon. You gaze into the water and see your reflection. And shimmering behind you is something or someone. You quickly look behind you, but the figure is gone. Spend 1 hour. Ugh, okay. So we're back down to 7 hours. And I still haven't found my first ingredient. This is looking not great. All right. Again, my choices are left or forward. I'm going to go forward, which is the 8 of Diamonds. So I'm already on this page. That's great. As you take a step, you hear a crack and look down to find a broken acorn under your shoe. You look up and dozens of tiny eyes are watching from the forest around you. Suddenly, a scurry of squirrels comes darting at you. You turn and run as fast as you can. Retrace your steps and move back 3 cards. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say that I don't do the effects for the intervening cards that I move through, but I do the effect for the King of Diamonds again. So I'm going to roll. So you're supposed to, every time you land in a card, whether you are just discovering it for the first time or whether you've been there before, you have to do the effects on it. Since I didn't technically land on those, it just told me to move back 3. I'm choosing to interpret that as I will do the effect of the card that I land on, rather than doing the effect of all the cards I pass through. I could be completely wrong about this, and the wonderful thing about these games is you can play it however you want. When you're playing a copy of this game, you know, by all means, If you want to do the effects for the intervening ones, go right ahead. Again, I roll under, so I get my hour back. So I'm back up to 8, which is good because I sort of have to retrace my steps. Now, here's the tough part. From where I am right now, I can't move to a new card. I have to move into a... I don't want to go to the King of Spades because that will most likely cause me... Well, it will cause me to lose an hour. I don't have 12 hours, so at least I don't get set back to 4. But I will lose an hour again. However, if I go to the 2 of Hearts, which is ahead of me, that gives me the chance, because that's the sound of thunder rumbling. Maybe the storm is more intense right now. So if I roll a 5 or a 6, I gain an hour. I could actually be ahead. And I do. I roll a 5. So actually I'm up to 9 hours now. I've gained some time. Which is good because I still haven't found one of these components. But now from where I am, if I want to keep exploring, I have to go to the left. So turn that over, and that is the 2 of Diamonds. So let's see what that is. Two of Diamonds. You discover a field of wildflowers so vast that you can't see the other side of the forest. There are flowers of every color here, spread out like a rainbow under the moonlight. It's beautiful. Spend 1 hour. Okay. Well, back down to 8 hours, but that sounds lovely. That was worth it. Just a big field of wildflowers. I'll take that. Field of wildflowers in the moonlight? Absolutely. All right. I think I'm just going to keep going to the left. What the heck? 8 of Spades. Oh no, your foot gets caught in a spiky vine, causing you to lose your balance. You trip and fall, getting caught in some brambles. It takes a bit of struggling before you're able to free yourself. Spend 2 hours. Oh no. I don't like that at all. Now I'm down to 6 hours. I still haven't found an ingredient. Come on. Get it together, witchy me. I feel like at this moment there is a guitar playing youth pastor joke in there where I swing a guitar off my back and into my lap and say, it's like, you know who always had 2 potion components under a pink moon, and start singing about Jesus. But all right, so do I want to keep going to the left? I think I do. Might as well just keep 2 of clubs. Just getting all of the 2s in this one. The path you follow branches into a fork ahead. A wooden sign once marking the way has fallen to the ground and started to decompose. You're unsure which way to go, left or right. Roll a d6. If the result is odd, spend 2 hours. If it's even, gain 1 hour. Oh. Come on, even. Come on, even. Yes, rolled a 2. So I get an hour back. Back up to 7. Thank goodness, because I am, like, biffing it here. Okay, I'm going to go down to this card. 7 of Spades. Come on, I just want 1 component. Just 1. Doop-a-doo, 7 of Spades. You stumble upon a large mushroom patch, bright and colorful. Oh no. There are tall and skinny mushrooms, short and stout mushrooms, and everything in between. You are captivated by them and take some time to inspect a peculiar one that stands out to you. Yes, I'm sure I do spend time eating mushrooms in the woods. It's probably not going to help my search, but I spend 1 hour, so I'm back down to 6 hours as I get high on mushrooms. Speaking of that, it's not necessarily a solo TTRPG. You could, I guess, play it. There is a wonderful one-page TTRPG called, oh no, what is it? It's called The Moose Game. So anyone who lives anywhere that has moose, as I do here in Canada, can tell you moose spend a lot of their time, because they are so long-legged, they spend a lot of their time eating stuff out of like marshy land, and in that marshland is a lot of where you will find like psychedelic mushrooms growing and stuff like that. So that means sometimes moose eat psychedelic mushrooms, and they go on like a little mushroom trip, and you can find occasionally stoned moose just living their life and hallucinating out in the forest. And that's what this game is about. It's a D20. You roll the D20 to see the effects of the mushrooms that you're dealing with. It's played with a group, so you're basically just like, as a group, describing the story of your particular moose as they go on like a bit of a mushroom trip. Yeah, that's a little sidebar for you. But it is an absolutely fun game. You can find it on itch. Highly recommend it. Okay, I've lost my hour. I'm going to like move on to the next. 7 of clubs. Oh, come on. I mean, every card that isn't one of the ingredients just means that like the next one. Scurrying out from a pile of leaves, you watch as 1, no 2, no 3 raccoons make their way over to a nearby berry bush. As you approach, one of the raccoons turns to you and offers you a berry. Gain 1 hour. Thank goodness. Thank you, raccoons, for being so wonderful. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Yeah, that was more of a gulp, but okay. I think I'm going to do the last card in this row. Ace of clubs. Come on. Ace of clubs. The aces are set aside on their own because the aces are all individual ingredients. Unfortunately, the ace of clubs is not one of the ingredients I'm looking for, but you discover a tiny rat crown perched carefully upon an equally small red velvet throne. This is just the component you need to make a potion of skullduggery, and that would be awesome if I was making a potion of skullduggery. I am making a potion of blooming, so this is not. As you carefully place the crown in your bag for safekeeping, you wonder what skullduggery means. I don't actually, because I know the etymology of skullduggery. That relates to like grave robbing and literally digging up skulls. Okay. So I have a tiny rat crown, but that does not in any way help me with mine. So I'm going to move forward to the 5 of hearts. The rhythm of your footsteps becomes repetitive and mind-numbing. Your feet are sore and your legs are tired. Well, yeah, no crap. I've been walking around this forest for hours. Roll 1d6. If the result is 1 or 2, the sensations are incredibly distracting. Spend 2 hours. Otherwise, spend 1 hour. Oh, great. So it's a lose or lose more. Okay, well, I rolled a 6, so I only spend 1 hour. So I'm down to 6 hours. And I still have not found a single ingredient that I need for this potion. So I'm gonna go this direction and clear out the last card on this roll. And it's the Ace of Spades, which is yet another ace that I don't need, because growing on the far wall of this damp and musky cave, you discover a black spotted mushroom. You wouldn't eat this on its own, but it is the perfect component for a potion of delirium, which I am not brewing tonight, so stop it. As you tuck the mushroom into your bag, you hear a distant drip echoing from somewhere deep within the cave. Yes, that's fantastic, but I need to find, like, my actual spell component. So I'm going to keep going forward. 4 of clubs. The thing I like about this game, too, is that there is a good mix of... Right, like, they didn't... Tally didn't put, like, all of the... like, all of the negative things in the clubs and spades and all the positive things in the hearts and diamonds. In each suit, there is a wonderful mix of good and bad. Which actually makes the game more, like, depending on how the layout is, you could be doomed from the start, right? Because if you just happen to lay out, like, a bunch of cards, bunch of the cards from each suit that are lose a bunch of hours, you could easily run out of time before you get anywhere near your thing. I've been lucky so far in that there's been sort of like a balancing act that's going on. I've never gone lower. I'm not gonna... It's too late. I've started saying it out loud. I've never gone lower than 6 so far. You know, and I got up to like 9, so I've been sort of staying in that range. Of course, now watch me tank it. But here we go. 4 of clubs. You come across a small clearing with what looks like a ritual space set up. It is the shape of a clock, with a circle drawn in the dirt and some twigs placed as clock hands. If you take a moment to perform a ritual here, gain 1 hour. Oh, I absolutely do. I performed the ritual of give me an hour back, damn it. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to go to the left. Oh, thank God. The Ace of Hearts, which is the ace that I need as one of the ingredients. In a clearing, in a perfectly trimmed circle of fresh green grass, you see the moondrop flower. This is a key component for a blooming potion. You carefully pick the flower and place it in your bag, knowing that the flower will regrow at the next full moon. Okay, so I have 1 of the 2 ingredients I need. I still have 7 hours on the clock. Things are looking up. And I've only got like 8 more locations to check out. Who knows what'll happen in those 8 locations, but then of course I have to get back to my cottage in order to brew this potion, and who knows what's going to happen on the way there. So gonna go north, the 6 of Hearts. The smell of brine hangs in the air. Soon the trees clear and you discover a beach. Soft waves lap along the sandy shore. The reflection of the pink moon gazes back at you from the salty water. Spend 1 hour. Yeah, okay. I suppose I've found like a piece of the one of the components I need. I can spend a little time on the beach. Let's go to the next space, the 7 of Hearts. That's good. I don't have to move pages. You meet a large badger wearing a miner's cap who excitedly informs you that he's finished his network of connected tunnels inspired by his favorite number. If you wish, you may traverse the tunnels and move to any other visible 7 card on the board. Okay. Well, there are 2 other 7s visible, and actually one of them is the 7 of spades, like right next to my cabin. So it's not useful right this second, but depending on how far away I am from the cabin when I find the second component, that could actually be useful. I have 6 cards left though, so I need to move to the next card. The 9 of clubs. That is not the Queen of Hearts. This is not my beautiful wife. 9 of clubs. You discover a large marshy swamp. The ground is soft and mucky, clinging to your shoes and making it hard to walk. There is no one here to guide you, and it takes a while to traverse. Spend 2 hours. Well, there's me and my big mouth. I am now down to 4 hours left in order to brew this potion of blooming. Gonna keep going. Okay, well, there's the Ace of Diamonds. So I think I've pulled every ace in the deck at this point. Luckily including the one that I actually need. Ace of Diamonds. Snagged in the branches of a thorny bush, you discover a single peacock feather. Shimmering and vibrant, it looks like it's glowing in the moonlight as you gently twirl it between your fingers. You carefully tuck this component in your bag for safekeeping, perhaps to brew a sheen potion later. Yes, perhaps, but first I have to get this potion of blooming. So, I'm going to turn over the next card, which is a Queen of Clubs. That can't possibly be good, but then, what do I know? You hear footsteps nearby. You peek cautiously through a bush and see yourself? Your past self? Your future self? You're not quite sure. Do you interfere? Spend 1 hour. Now I've got 3 hours left. It's not good. It's not looking good, folks. Right. Next unexplored cards is the Jack of Clubs. Rut-row. Tall crops line the path you follow, so dense they seem to be their own forest. You look closely and realize they are beanstalks. What kind of beans are they? Are they magic? Perhaps they could come in handy. Spend 1 hour. It's like, come on, witch, get it together. We can't be distracted by beans right now. I'm down to 2 hours. Now, something I could do, like from where I am actually surrounded. I'm going to go back and take a look at... So I don't want to go there. No. I was hoping that like in the directions that I could travel, there might be a card I could jump to that might help me get an hour back, but there isn't. So I basically just have to, I've got 2 hours left and I've got to explore. So go to the next card, which is the 6 of clubs. I have exactly 1 card left to explore. You walk into a dense copse of trees and quickly feel yourself getting turned around. You aren't sure which way you came from. Eventually you manage to stumble out back into the light. Wait, this place looks familiar. You've been here before. Spend 1 hour. So I'm down to 1 hour. And return to the card you came from. So I go back to the Jack of Clubs. Which is, and I have to do the effects of what's there because I've landed on that card, which is spend 1 hour. So I have lost. I've officially run out of time. And the annoying thing is there was just 1 more card for me to turn over, which would have been the Queen of Hearts and the thing that I need. So unfortunately, this pink moon, I did not find the potion components I needed to brew my potion. So there you are. Very, very sad. But that is A Witch's Almanac. And that is as simple and as quick and as easy as that is to play. And of course, if you're playing it on your own, if you wanted to, you could absolutely like add a journaling component to this and like keep a journal of your movement through the forest and just make up a bit of a story around it and write that out. That could be something fun. Things I like about this type of game as well is that this is something that could very easily, maybe not this specific game, depending on what type of game you're running with other people, but consider doing like a mechanic like this when you're running a tabletop game for folks, and instead of it being like a list of like a pre-written adventure that you have, maybe you do it as you figure out sort of like what each card represents as far as an encounter location and what's going to go on there. And then when players say, okay, well, we're going to go and explore the magical forest or whatever to try and find these things, you then shuffle the cards, lay out the cards that represent the items that they're looking for, deal out however many cards to make a nice array around that, lay that out, and now this is what they're doing. The players decide, sort of like which direction they're going to go in. Maybe they choose to split up to cover ground more quickly, but that means that maybe the wrong person is encountering something and doesn't have, you're not going to have the perfect skills there to deal with something. Right. Like one of the encounters could be you need to wrestle, and that would be perfect if the fighter was there, but it's the party mage, and unless the mage was at like wizard school on a wrestling scholarship, that encounter could go very badly very fast. So something to consider. There are things that are being done with solo TTRPGs that you could very easily work into your non-solo TTRPGs, the games that you play with other people, that I think can make them like very interesting and a little bit more interactive and a little less prescriptive. So instead of it just being you reading stuff off to your players and like stuff like that, they actually sort of get a sense of being able to choose how they go through the environment, especially if you do it sort of how Witch's Almanac does it, where whenever you land on a space, you still go through that thing. If a space had a positive effect, there may be something in there where they get hurt or whatever, so they backtrack to that other location that helps them, to help them sort of get on with what they're doing. So that's, and then that sort of adds an interesting strategic element to what's going on in the game, which I think can make your tabletop role-playing games just that much more interesting. Yeah, what have we got? So there is technically like another half hour left in this segment. Now I could I could just keep yammering on for the next half hour. But I think what I'm going to do instead, because it'll be a little bit better for me, is I'm going to take a slightly longer break. So like maybe 15 or 20 minutes instead of 10. And then I'm going to come back and restart the stream. Because, again, as I said, I'm doing 8 hours of streaming today, but I don't want to deal with an 8-hour-long VOD at the end of it. So I've been stopping the stream and then restarting whenever I sort of come to the end of a block, so that I have roughly 2-hour chunks. Because that's easier for me to work with and easier for me to like edit and put over on YouTube, so these sessions can live on. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do right now. It is coming up on 1:30 my time, so that'll be like whatever time it is wherever you are. And I think I'm going to stop the stream in a few minutes. Take a slightly longer break, 20 minutes. That'll give me time to like cook something, because it's after lunch and I ate breakfast like 5 hours ago. So I should probably eat something else so that I have energy for the rest of the afternoon. Should also probably get some food in me to counteract the whiskey that is in my coffee. And yeah, then I'll come back, restart the stream, and go from there. So thanks to everyone who has stopped by and followed and watched me play the games, and thank you so much again to Battle Rock for subscribing. That is so incredibly generous and super awesome of you. Congratulations on being the channel's very, very first subscriber. If you prefer to whisper it to me, if you want to put it in chat, you can too. If you have a Twitter handle, if it's the same as your Twitch handle, let me know. I will shout you out as my first subscriber on Twitter. If you're not interested in that, then you obviously don't have to. You may not even be in chat anymore, and that is totally cool. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming by. Thank you so much for the donations. Chaotic coming in with a $15 donation, which is wonderful and generous. I hope you do follow up through the website and hit me up for the incentive that goes along with that, because I would love to create something for you. Yeah, I'm going to pause the stream, and then we're going to go on when I come back in 20 minutes. So thanks everyone. We'll see you in a little bit.